You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. Change is inevitable, right?
Correct.
Inevitable. Especially when there's a head coaching change. You're always going to have staff turnover.
Correct.
But there are two very significant members of LSU's coaching staff that are no longer members of LSU's coaching staff. We learned last night as we were going off the air, Corey Raymond has taken a job on Billy Napier's staff at Florida. And although this isn't confirmed yet through LSU, it's out there enough that Kevin Falk is not going to be back on LSU's staff. So where do you want to start? Let's start with Corey. Let's just go chronologically. Let's start with Corey.
I think to me they all tie in, and I mean just like anything else, being an outspoken alum, they're going to be the loud majority that hate me.
I don't know if it's a majority.
I said, I'm sorry, loud minority. I used the wrong word. I don't care about them though, honestly. And so when the hire took place, I caught a lot of flack, or a lot of people were upset because I said old white dude
on this show last week.
I said it on the show. I said it on, and also said it on First Take.
Okay.
Right. And, most people simply focused on the fact that I use that descriptive language to describe Brian Kelly as I did Les Miles and Ogeron. Mm-hmm. And I get why people would be off put by that, because they feel like they couldn't say like white people couldn't say old black dude. Mm-hmm. So I get that. There's also not history of racism behind the other one. And so part of that though was that I said I liked a guy like Billy Napier, because I thought his understanding of the region, his understanding of our culture were important, and not necessarily just the understanding of being in Louisiana, but there's no way to be at ULL for 4 years and not start to learn some of the inner workings of LSU.
Sure.
To not know that Corey Raymond's been here for a decade, that Corey Raymond played at this school, to not understand Corey Raymond's effect on recruiting, Corey Raymond's effect on that building, Corey Raymond's development of All-American and Thorpe Award winners, also producing first-round draft picks. I thought that he would understand something like that. And in understanding something like that, whether you truly make those things a priority in hiring, because one, I believe that you're supposed to hire people you are comfortable with. You're supposed to hire people that you feel can do the job that you need to get done, that can also communicate your message into their individual rooms. And if in interviewing Corey Raymond, or if in speaking to Corey Raymond, you feel that he's not that person, then that's okay. That's business. That's football. Or in interviewing a Coach Cooks, you feel like he can do those things in the way that you want him to do those, and better than Corey can, whether at Oklahoma, whether at Notre Dame, or whether at LSU, then that's business. I feel like, that's okay. But if you understand the culture here, if you understand the history here, you know that man is important, right? You know that you know the value that Corey Raymond has. And if you study the job, if the job isn't just about the fact that you've seen the Alabamas up close, you've seen the Georgias up close, you've seen the Oklahomas up close, and no matter how great of an X's and O coach you are, which we all understand Brian Kelly is, you ain't never had the people to beat him. And you realize that you can get to that point, but you can't beat them unless you got the folks that range from like Lake Charles to the bottom of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Right? If that's not your only reason for taking the job other than 95 million, right? You learn those things. And if you aren't willing to learn those things, somebody should tell you, right? Whether it's President Tate, whether it's Scott Woodward, whether it's Collis Temple II, whether it's Ryan Clark, whoever is advising you should be able to, Frank Wilson should be able to advise that, say that. And so when I did my piece in my segment on Friday, when everybody was all upset because of how I described Brian Kelly, it wasn't like I was asking for a black coach or an African-American coach or a minority coach. I was asking for a coach who I felt like understood our culture and our history. And so I mentioned Billy Napier. I mentioned Dave Aranda, who are younger people And so when you get a call, I was doing a podcast yesterday, Face First, in Austin, and Corey called me during the podcast. Then he texted me, and he didn't want me to find out for somebody else. He's like, "Dog, I'm going to UF," and I don't cuss. You've been around me. I spell curse words, but I cussed.
No way.
And it was the real one.
No
the
way.
F word.
No way.
And so Coach Tomlin,
I'm legitimately surprised. Legitimately surprised.
Yeah, and Coach Tomlin has a saying that everyone should be treated fairly, but everyone shouldn't be treated the same. I don't feel like Corey Raymond should have been treated the same. As most of the staff goes, they have not had personal conversations or meetings with Brian Kelly. Most of the staff, they haven't, right? And so that's just the way he's decided to go about his job, and that's fine. But I feel like a guy like Corey Raymond should know or have some direction on what you want him to do. Whether it's, hey, coach, we aren't going to be retaining you. Hey, coach, go look for a job, and but we'll still be having conversations. Whatever it is, I feel like that. I feel like he deserves it. Nobody cares what I feel, obviously, but I feel like he deserves it. I feel like that's a part of what would be doing good business here. And so those things didn't happen. And when you get an opportunity to, and I would also say in a lot of these situations, Matt, I'm too close to everybody to see things like other people see them.
That makes sense.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the people who genuinely and generally only want to go to Tiger Stadium to watch them win, they don't care about this stuff. I do. They don't. And so I think that always that shaped my opinion when we talked last week. Mm-hmm. Right? It shaped my opinion when I spoke on First Take on Friday, and it shapes my opinion now. And I've told you this, and I've said it. I think he's going to do well, because you have to be incompetent to not. And we saw two people that we have now found out were, and they also won national championships. Yeah. And so I say it again, he is a good hire. He is a big-time hire. He is what Scott Woodward does. It's why Scott Woodward is one of the best that's ever done his job. I'm not saying that I don't like Brian Kelly, but what I'm saying is some of these things were the things I was worried about. And so when you look at a staff, I think someone was smart enough to say, hey, you might want to go get Frank Wilson. Yeah. Right? But I feel like you do that, and you have to do that because this is coming. You
mean Corey leaving, Kevin leaving?
Yeah. Because if those two leave and you don't have Frank, then it's
and Mickey, by the way.
Right. And Mickey, right. Then it's a mutiny. Yeah. Right. It's a mutiny, because it's like, hold on. If there were three people that we thought had the shot to stay here, two for sure. Yeah. Right. And now they're gone, and then now Mickey, and Mickey as well. And so I just think, man, it's disheartening for me. And I was here when Saban came, right? And I do feel like we're in some way trying to recreate that, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Like Saban wasn't a fit, right? He's just the greatest college football coach to ever live. We just ain't know it then, right? And Saban wasn't a fit, and everything changed. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But what people will not understand who have decided to become LSU fans now, we ain't have no tradition. We didn't have history. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were showing highlights of LSU when I was in school, it was Billy Cannon, bro. You know what I mean? It was Billy Cannon. Yeah. Like the tradition has been built now. Like we started that. You know what I mean? Like when Saban came, like Moffitt, Saban, we started that. You know what I mean? And Corey Raymond is a part of that tradition. Kevin Falk started that. Yeah. Right? Kevin Falk, like I wanted to go to Notre Dame, right? Because I always saw Notre Dame on TV. Kevin Falk made me want to go to LSU. Because all I remember was his sophomore year, he beat Archbishop Shaw, and that's all anybody could ever talk about at my school. No, for real. That's all they could talk about was how good the quarterback at Karen Crow was. Yeah. Right? And then he goes to LSU. He's a freshman All-American. And I was like, oh, crap. I lost my button. And I was like, but no, for real. I was like, if that dude can go to LSU, what I got to leave for? Yeah. And so I'm not saying that these dudes, that they're owed jobs, but they're owed a certain level of respect for what they've done for us. You know what I mean? Yes. And I felt like I felt coming in, he didn't understand that. Now, for the people who only care about wins, right? Because I got frat brothers who I'm on a chat with, right? Who like I legit have to stop talking to sometimes because I want to fist fight them, right? Because their outlook on everything is so different from mine, but I'm so close to it. You know what I mean? When you're sitting, like there's a room I'm sitting in today, you know, and maybe people will understand this and respect this, and maybe people can't get the visual. In this room, sitting down is me by the door, right? Eddie Kennison in the seat next to me, and Kevin Falk behind his desk with tears in his eyes with boxes in his room. You know what I mean? And so like when people are like, oh, you're a cancer. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm hugging the staffers that work there that are sad because Corey and Kevin are gone. You know what I mean? And then I'm going to be asked at some point, because they already called me, to go sit down and have a conversation with Brian Kelly. And I'm going to do it because I want our school to win. But it doesn't mean that those things don't matter. Like we ain't have nothing before Nick. We didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like we was trying to build that. That's been built. It's built because of Kevin Falk. It's now continued because of Corey Raymond. And they're gone, and that's fine. And I hope I'm super happy for Corey that he's somewhere, you know, like everybody's mad that, like I said, I'm happy you're somewhere where you could get the respect that you didn't get here. When other dudes come right in and they make more money than you, and you've been doing this for a decade. When other coaches are out recruiting and they can't land dude, so they call you and you finish the job. And so other people come in and get more money than you, and you don't get the conversation of direction of where you're going. And I'm not, and he's my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my friend, bro. You know what I mean? Like, so much so he was like, I need to call you and tell you so you don't find out the way everybody else is going to find out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And to watch and to see Kevin Falk with tears in his eyes, man, this man just lost his child and he's in the office, bro. You know what I mean? And like, I think that's what people miss. Like, they act like first off, none of those people are given anything. Like, none of that junk is handed to anyone. Like, you work for that, right? And it's part of and I get it, it's part of the business, but like everybody's so damn detached from it because it's all about like how many rings we can win and how many championships we could get. And like they miss the rest of the human relationship that goes along with those players that I'm always called to do. And now with these coaches, bro, and the junk just sucks, you know? And I'll say again, because I know y'all need to hear it. We are going to be good at football at some point. Not this year, right? We're going to stink this year probably because it's going to be hard to recruit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be people that leave, whether it's transfer portal or they go to the league or whatever, just because they're used to one thing. And 2022 defensive backs are probably going to go to Florida. You know, like that's just part of it. Yeah. Running backs will leave. Like but that's part of the change. I get it. You know, and then Brian Kelly will get his players and we'll be good. You know why? Because we're LSU now. But don't forget, we weren't in the late 90s, right? We became LSU in the 2000s. These two people are huge parts of that.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.